Hey guys, come one, come all, come on in. Happy Tuesday. Let's do this morning. So let you guys kind of piecemeal in here. I'm going to make sure this is working in our group and that you guys can see me and that you guys can hear me. If you're here watching with me, drop me a line. Let me know if you can hear my audio. And let me know where you're watching from. So drop me a line, say yes if you can hear my audio, and let me know where you are watching from. Okay, just going to pull up my comments here so that I can see your post. Okay, I see Claudia here. Hey, Claudia. Hey, Brian. Nice to see you, Brian, as always. Okay, so you guys can hear me. Cool. All right, so let's get going here. How to cultivate a CEO mindset in your coaching business and ditch the employee mindset. Hey, Virginia from New Jersey. Nice to see you. Okay, cool. So let's dive in here. Couple things here. So for those of you who haven't met me yet, I think most people here with me live have met me, virtually at least, or you know of me. But for those of you who haven't, or perhaps you're watching the replay, my name is Betty Kempa. I am a business coach for coaches. I'm a marketing strategist, content marketing, LinkedIn. That's my jam. I'm an IPEC graduate. For those of you familiar with IPEC, I know we have a lot of IPECians in this Facebook group. I'm also on the Forbes Coaches Council. My specialty is helping corporate professionals ditch the 9-to-5 and repackage their genius into a six-figure coaching business using my signature methodology, the 5 C's of building a six-figure coaching business. All right, so that is my spiel so that you guys know who is talking to you live today. There is a link to my Build a Six-Figure Coaching Business program in the Facebook Live description if you want to check that out. And there's also a link to apply for a discovery call with me if you'd like to be considered for the program. So there's a link for that as well. All right, so on to today's topic, how to cultivate a CEO mindset in your coaching business and ditch the employee mindset. So I want to just get right into this, honestly. And here's the thing. Lots of my clients are coming to me from a corporate background, right? And that's my background as well, right? We led that corporate life, that 9-to-5. And yeah, even if we were leaders, we were employees, associates of a business, an organization. And doing that is a completely different mindset. Showing up for work each day at your corporate 9-to-5. And I think you guys probably already know this, or you're feeling this if you've already started your coaching business. It's a different mindset. The way you show up each day as the CEO of your coaching business is so wildly different from a headspace perspective of how you showed up as a corporate employee in your 9-to-5. And I think it's important to talk about that mindset shift that has to happen in order for you to achieve a six-figure coaching business, right? Which is what this group is all about. We're coaches, so we know it's not just about doing, it starts up here. So it's important we make that shift. So let's talk about the CEO mindset. CEO mindset, it's the thought patterns, it's the beliefs, it's the behaviors that most CEOs possess, right? So when you think of a CEO, you can even go back to your last corporate job if you want to. Close your eyes, and I want you to picture that CEO of this big company, this big successful company. What are the traits? What are the beliefs? What are the behaviors that you are imagining, or maybe you witnessed if you worked with the C-suite, that they exhibit, right? It's totally different than an employee. So you really have to start crystallizing that in your brain, right? So for example, a CEO is going to exhibit strategic decision-making, right? Strategic decision-making versus rushing into something, shiny object syndrome, like, oh, look over here, look over there, right? A successful CEO is going to be, using strategic decision-making versus shiny object syndrome, right? A CEO is going to always be seeking out feedback, right? From their clients, from their prospects, from their employees, from their team, right? They're always looking for feedback. A CEO has this ability to see the big picture, right? At a 30,000 foot view, right? Very different than being, head down in your cubicle, work. They're looking at it from a 30,000 foot view. So I hope as I'm kind of making this description here in your mind, you're picturing, right, how this can apply to your coaching business and what's going on up here. And you guys, as I'm describing this, I encourage you to drop in the comments when you think of a CEO's mindset, the headspace you have to be in, what comes to mind for you, right? Because that might be slightly different for each of you. So drop in the comments when you think of a CEO's mindset, how are they thinking? What is the mindset of a CEO to you? Share some of that feedback in the comments. So to me, a CEO knows exactly where the company's heading, right? There's never a question. If you got into an elevator with a CEO at a big corporation and you ask, hey, what's on the horizon for the company this year? They're going to be able to spout that out. You know what I mean? Like they know exactly where the company's heading because they're the ones steering the ship, right? They're not, if we use the boat analogy, it's not like they're on a boat and they're the passenger and they're just kind of being sloshed from side to side with these big waves of the ocean. They are steering the ship. They are the captain, right? They're making long-term decisions for the organization. They know where the ship is heading and they're steering it there, right? So again, I want you guys to apply this to how you show up for your coaching business. So the CEO mindset, it's really taking the time to get clear on, I like to look at it as a 1, 3, 10-year plan. One, 3, 10. Where do I want my business? And I like to work backwards, right? So, and you guys, I encourage you after this live to do this exercise. Where do I want my coaching business to be in 10 years? I know that's tough to think about that far out, but and that will change over time, right? It's not like if you whiteboard this activity today, you're not going to change that for 10 years. That'll change and that's okay, but you got to have a vision of where you're going. So where do I want my coaching business to be in 10 years? What do I want my coaching business to achieve in 10 years? And feel free to drop that in the comments. What is one thing that you want your coaching business to be or achieve in a decade from now? And then back that up, right? In order to get to that place. And P.S., some of this might have to do with your own lifestyle, right? How do you want your life to look in 10 years? And how does the business plan align with that? Right? We want the business plan to complement the life you want to live, right? So be thinking about both of those sides of the coin and then back it up. Okay, if that's where I want the ship to head in 10 years, where do I want it to be in 3 years? And that's a little bit easier to digest, right? Like I've got my own 3-year plan. That felt a little bit more doable, right? Where do I want my coaching business to be in 3 years? What do I want my coaching business to achieve in 3 years? And how do I want to live my life in 3 years, right? Which days do I want off? Am I focused on leading a team? What do my clients look like? What does my free time look like, right? So you really want to have that column of what do I want my life to look like? And then the complementary column of, okay, and what do I want my business to achieve in that time frame, right? So back it up, go to your 3-year mark and then the 1-year mark, right? Which feels much more doable and is so important, right? I would love every single one of you guys, after doing this exercise to be able to rattle off to me, where do you want your coaching business to be in a year? And most people will say, I want to achieve 6 figures, which is awesome. And I want you all to have a financial goal, 100%. I mean, that's a big piece of this, but it's more than that too, right? What do you want your coaching business to achieve in 1 year? Right, I have some clients that say, I want to get on Forbes Coaches Council. I have some clients that say, I want to have a team underneath me, like whatever that looks like for you, where do you want to be in 1 year? So back that up. And then once you have that direction, that North Star, that's when you can go and build a strategic plan in that direction, right? Don't build the strategic plan until you know what the North Star looks like. So have fun with this. Think big and map out your North Star. And then we go back and we build out the strategic plan in that direction, right? That's a lot of the work that I do with my clients, right? Is I'm trying to get underneath, because everybody's got a separate goal, right? What's your goal for your business? And then we back up the strategic plan. Okay. Now, here's the cool thing. Once you do that, is that, we're faced, I was talking about this the other day with one of my coaches is, as entrepreneurs, we're often, it's almost like you can run into decision fatigue because you got to make so many decisions, right? Decision. You can start to feel, and especially for those of you still in your corporate job, or if you're juggling maybe a couple, side coaching gigs, you can run into decision fatigue, right? When it comes to the business. So here's the cool thing is once you have that 1, 3, 10-year plan, every time you need to make a decision, you can ask yourself, will making this decision, so if I have like the red pill or the blue pill, right? And I say, okay, if I take the red pill, will that move me and my coaching business closer to my 1, 3, 10-year plan, or will it move me further away? And that's the cool thing. Every decision you make will either move you closer to your 1, 3, 10-year plan, or it's going to move you further away. And that's the bottom line. And that's the coolest thing. It makes it so much easier for you to make decisions for your business, right? So let me check my comments here. Hey, Stella. Hey, Ellen. Okay, all good. So I encourage you guys, including those of you watching the replay, drop in the comments, even just give me one thing that you want your coaching business to achieve within the 1-year mark. Give me one thing that you're going to commit to building a strategic plan towards, okay? Now, we kind of touched on that CEO mindset. I want to also touch on the employee mindset. So, the CEO, right, is up here at the 30,000 foot mark looking at the business. An employee is down in the trenches, right? They're down in the trenches, they're boots to ground. In a sense, they're kind of stuck in the day-to-day, right? Day-to-day. They're focused on the here and now. Right? They're ripping off the sheets on a Tuesday, and oftentimes the employee feels stressed out about, what do I have to get done today? Right? It's what's on today's checklist. And the employee is thinking less about the direction and the vision of the company. They're just seeing what's right here in front of them, right? Oftentimes that employee mindset is the mindset of, I got to do everything myself. Right? It's similar to being in solopreneur mode, right? Solopreneur mode. This belief that I got to do it all myself. That's an employee mindset, right? Sometimes the employee mindset will work if you have something to do that you have to get done that only you, the coach, can do. This isn't something you can delegate, right? Maybe it's creating a client assignment, right, or material for your client, and you're rolling up your sleeves and you're getting it done, and you're stepping into the doer mode. That's okay, right, here and there, especially in the beginning. The employee mindset is do. It's based on action. It's head down and work. It's task oriented. But here's the problem, which I'm sure you guys can all follow where I'm going with this. If you're operating with an employee mindset, most of the time, like here and there, it's okay, right? But if that's like your default mode is like, I wake up each day and I've just got a checklist, a to-do list, and I do what I can, and shiny object syndrome, and I'm a solopreneur and I got to do it all myself, that is going to, you're going to run into problems, because that's being short-sighted in your business and missing the bigger picture and the bigger business direction. It's also leaving money on the table when you're operating with an employee mindset, because that often is, you're not thinking big enough, right? It's just doing what's right in front of me. You're not developing a long-term vision or a strategic plan, right? Every time I or my clients have achieved their financial goals, right, it was not by default, right? One of my clients, Vanessa, came to me. She was just launching. I walked her through my 5 C's, and she achieved that 6 figures her first year in business, which was awesome. That was not by default. All right. That was not her waking up on a Tuesday like, oh, what do I have to do today? Checklist, shiny object. That was a strategic plan we laid out that she either delegated, automated, or implemented, right? Very strategic. The other thing about employee mindset or being in employee mode is you run the risk of, if you're there too long, burning yourself out, doing everything yourself, acting as a solopreneur, being in that constant hustle mode, putting out fires, right? None of us want to be in that place all the time. So I'm going to pause here and see if you guys have any questions. Brian, my business income needs to surpass that of my bridge jobs. I love that goal. Love, love, love. And we will work on that. Yep, that's an awesome goal. Virginia, 10 clients. Cool. So, I'm sure you have this in your head, Virginia, but the SMART goal behind that 10 clients, right? 10 clients in what time frame? 10 clients at what price point, right? So you don't have to share that in the comments, but make sure you have all that sketched out. I want 10 clients by when and at what price point, right? Really important, but that's a great start. Okay, so let's dig into the CEO mindset a little bit more. So we talked about, and again, I want you guys to take these as action items. Create a 1, 3, 10-year plan for your coaching business. Okay, so that's an action item. What do you want the business to look like? What do you want to achieve in the business? And from there, the cool thing is you can back that into quarterly, monthly, weekly, and daily goals. That's the cool thing. That will dictate what you do on the day-to-day, right? You have the 1-year plan, and then you can figure out, okay, what do I need to do each quarter to achieve that? What do I need to do this month to achieve that? What do I need to do this week? And what do I need to do today? So we want to just work backwards. I will tell you guys the full focus planner. This is something I send to my clients because I think it's so cool. But the full focus planner is a really cool planner that will help you with this kind of a process, backing up your big goals into tangible monthly, weekly, daily, right? So check it out, the full focus planner, if you haven't yet. So that's action item 1. Okay, you guys. Action item 2, and it's not really an action item, but it's just, I want you to be thinking about this as you go through your day-to-day. The CEO mindset is the opposite of being a solopreneur. It's the opposite. So as you're going about your day in your coaching business, I just want to remind you guys, I know in the beginning we do a lot ourselves. That's just the way it is with, doing things in the beginning. But I want you to expedite. I want you to make it a priority in your business to move out of solopreneur mode and into let me find help. Right? So I know that doesn't happen overnight, but I do want you guys to make that a priority. You don't have to, nor should you do it all by yourself, right? You want to be the CEO of your business. So with that being said, I want you guys to be thinking about what can you delegate? Okay, what can you delegate or outsource, however you want to put that? What can you automate? Right? There are certain things you can delegate. There are certain things you can automate. There are certain things you could eliminate. Okay, so I want you to be thinking about how that applies to your coaching business. Make a list of $10 and I call them $10 an hour tasks, right? The stuff that's admin, basic, right? It doesn't necessarily take a skill set. Anyone could do it if they were trained on it. Monitor your activities for a week. Monitor your activities. It's almost like, my analogy is like, working with a health coach and they have you input everything you eat into your food log, From a business perspective, I encourage you guys to log all the task action items you're doing in your business for a week. And then I want you to look back at that list and I want you to highlight the $10 an hour task that you, the CEO, shouldn't be doing, that you can outsource, delegate, automate, or eliminate. Really, these should be any tasks that are not at the current rate you are charging as a coach. Right now, I know we don't charge hourly, right? We don't charge hourly. We sell by the package. But, you know, in your own brain, I know all of you guys have the idea of your hourly rate, even though we don't verbalize that, right? You probably have that in your brain. You should be, any tasks that are not at that rate, you should be outsourcing, delegating, automating, or eliminating. And I know that doesn't happen overnight, but that should be a priority that you're working towards. Okay, so let's talk about delegate. Let's see. I'm going to pause here, make sure I don't have any questions. Virginia, by December 31st at 6K, so 6K a year. So is that 6K a client? So 10 clients at 6K each, Virginia? Good, perfect. Getting very specific. I mean, you guys know we're all coaches, SMART goals, right? Make these all into SMART goals. Perfect. So let's talk about the delegating. So you're like, oh, who am I supposed to delegate to? I don't have anyone to delegate to. So it should be a priority that you're building your team. It should be a priority that you're building your team. And it doesn't happen overnight, and that's okay. We're going to work towards that. So if there's something that you're monitoring in your business, right? You look back at your week and you see all the stuff you did. I want you to notice also, what are the tasks you're doing that are not your superpower? That's not your strength, right? So it's either that it's a $10 an hour task or it's not your superpower. Sometimes some of the tasks we do are expensive tasks, but it's not our superpower. So I want you to highlight, you could highlight in yellow the $10 an hour task you're doing and highlight in green the stuff that maybe it's not $10 an hour, but it's not your superpower, right? Those are the kind of things we want to see how we can delegate, automate, right? How do you delegate when you don't have a team yet? There are different ways to go about this. You could use interns. There are college kids out there right now that are looking for an internship, right? And that is something you could do. You could create a job description and you could get an intern. Now, as you make more money in the business, hiring a team should be a priority for you, right? You make a big sale, you celebrate, you pay off your bills first, and then you ask yourself, what of this can I invest into building a team, even a couple hours a week, right? Virtual assistants, right? So we've got our interns. I'm just giving you guys options of ways you can build teams. You can hire a virtual assistant. Currently, for me, I have 2 virtual assistants. I found a virtual assistant that was skilled in each of the things I needed. I have one that is more on the creative side. They create, my graphics. When you guys see those videos that I post that have a headline and subtitles, I'm not doing that, right? That's a VA who's putting that together. And she's also editing that video, right? So those little short video bites, that's a VA. Right, so that's one. My other VA, I'm not saying you guys have to do exactly what I did, but I want to give you an idea of how this could work. I have another VA who supports the admin side of my business, right? So meaning she's doing things like she takes the post and she's posting it on my LinkedIn, my business page, my Facebook, welcoming in new group members in my Facebook page, right? So she's supporting the admin of my business. So I've kind of got the marketing creative VA and the admin VA. You can find one VA who does both, right? That's just happened to be the route that I took. So again, look at that $10 an hour task list, monitor and track what do you do each week, and ask yourself which of these can be outsourced. Other options for support, you could have a family member. Right? When I first started, I had my mom doing my outreach on LinkedIn, which was really cool, right? Because she got to get involved in my business with me. It was fun, right? It didn't last too long, but it was a great way to get started, right? But when I didn't have a lot of extra funds, right? So that was a fun thing that we did together. So you can have a family member, if you've got a college kid, right? Maybe this could be something that they help you with. We talked about interns. You can literally Google intern boards, right? Like intern forums, intern discussion boards. Like there are websites out there that interns go to and they look for internships. So you can Google that. You can search in Facebook for intern Facebook groups. I am sure there's always a Facebook group for everything, that there's a Facebook group for internship opportunities. So you can get in there. I have a client who went to her local college and talked to the gatekeeper there about, hey, I've got a cool internship opportunity, right? So you can talk to your local college. All that is required is that you create a job description, right? So you have to decide, what do I want this intern to do? Likely it's going to be either some form of admin or social media help, right? That's a cool role for an intern, is social media stuff, right? And the younger kids are quick at that kind of thing. So think about that, right? Don't feel blocked by building a team because you don't have the funds yet. There's always a way. There's always a way. VAs, and there's different pricing. So back to the VAs, you could hire an international VA, and I can't tell you the pricing because it's all over the place. But I've seen a lot of international VAs around $15, even some down to $7 an hour, 7 to 15 for an international VA. And PS, even if you want to start them with just a couple hours a week, right? Some of these places, you don't have to bring them on 40 hours. You could say, oh, for 5 hours a week, will you help me with this? You can do that. You can start them at a couple hours a week. VAs in the States are probably more expensive. It depends on their experience. I don't know. I've seen VAs in the States around 25 to $40 an hour. But do your research, and get referrals, right? Coaching groups just like this, you can post, who are you guys using for a VA? Who do you recommend? And get a referral from another coach. Okay. As far as how to work with the VA, that's another training probably, but essentially you don't have to make it into a big production when you hire a VA. You can piecemeal them stuff to do, right, as time goes on. Now, of course, I do recommend before you hire someone on, you should have a Google Doc of the stuff you want them to do, right? And that should be from the activity where you highlighted the $10 an hour task you want to take off your plate. So yeah, you should have you don't want to hire a VA and be like, like making stuff up. Like have a Google Doc of the stuff you want to take off your plate. A standard operating procedure, an SOP. Doesn't need to be fancy. Just throw it onto a Google Doc. I know another cool way, and you don't have to be this advanced, but if you don't maybe want to write everything out, you can use Loom or Zoom, screen share, record your screen, and you can just do a day in the life of you and walk them through what you do on your computer that you need them to do, and then put it on a private YouTube channel, right? So I'm planting the seed here. Interns, VAs, a bookkeeper. And I know you could do this yourself, some of the stuff, but I'm venturing that probably that's not in your zone of genius. Right? For most of you being a bookkeeper, right? You're coaches. You're here to coach. So take the stuff that's not in your zone of genius off your plate. Now that's not a $10 an hour task, but it's typically not something most of us want to spend our time doing. So to me, that is something that is worth the investment. A bookkeeper, right? That tracks what you got going on. A tax person. Yeah, you could do your own taxes, but I'm thinking it's probably not what most of you want to spend your time doing, right? What's your zone of genius? If it's bookkeeping and taxes, awesome, do it. But if that's not your zone of genius, if a CEO, the CEO mindset tells you not to spend your time in the weeds, elevate, right? Elevate. Bookkeeper, tax person, could be the same person that does both those things. Website. right? Again, we're thinking like a CEO, right? We're thinking like a CEO. Now, if designing a website's in your zone of genius, then you go, like, do it. Design that website, do those updates, right? We have those. I'm using WordPress, and they're always telling me I have to update something, right? So it's like the website design is part of it, and then the updates are a second part of it. So again, the question is this in my zone of genius? And if not, I'm going to be the CEO of my business. I'm going to make a sale. And when I, pay off my monthly bills, I'm going to take the surplus and delegate the stuff I don't want to do, right? Right now, I'm going through a rebranding with my website. I've just started, and I'm excited about that. And I'll share it with you guys when it's done. But that's not my zone of genius. Updating my website. So I have an awesome website designer who's doing that for me. So that I just want to plant some ideas in your head of where you can start when it comes to building a team. I'm going to pause to make sure I don't have any questions. Hey, Paula. Brian, interns. Yes. And we can talk about that too, Brian. Interns, I'm telling you what, that's the way to go. All right, cool. So turn off my Facebook here. Okay, cool. So next I want to talk about CEO mindset. So I'm building a team to support my business, but you also want to build a team to support your clients. Right? So that's how a CEO thinks, right? Is my clients have these needs. How can I build a team to support my clients, right? Your clients or your prospects or your ideal client avatar. Think about this. Your clients, your prospects, your ideal client avatars, they are telling you what they really need, right? Oftentimes what's available to them in the market, it's not what they really need. Usually it's something a little extra. They're like, I wish I could get this, right? When a CEO hears that, and you should all be listening for that, what do they say they need? Maybe you don't currently offer it, but everybody's saying they need it. A CEO is going to find a way to give that to them, right? An employee is going to say, I don't do that. Horse blinders. Nope, I don't do that. It's not my job description. A CEO is going to say, my client base is telling me they want this. It's not currently in my offering. What can I do to get that to them, right? So I want you to think about that. I'll give you an example. When I first started, before I was business coaching, I was a career coach. That's how I got started. That's how I got my first 6 figures, was as a career coach. And this is one of the activities I take my clients through is we study competitors, right? That's part of market validation and positioning. We do something called a competition matrix, which is essentially a scorecard or a spreadsheet where we, list all the competitors and there's different pieces of that score sheet. But we want to take a look and figure out what are the competitors offering, right? So when I was career coaching, here's what I noticed. And this was, years ago. But I noticed there were 2 types of career coaches out there. There was the career coach that was focused more on the internal work, right? So for those of you from IPEC, the Gales, right? The gremlin, the limiting beliefs, right? Self-sabotage, the internal work. And that is the kind of career coach I started out as, right? I had all the coaching tools in my tool belt, and it was focused on the inner work. And also the kind of career coach I was let me help you find your passion. Let me help you get over your limiting beliefs, and let me help you find your passion. So I was focused on the inner. Then I noticed my other competitors, they were either like me, inner work. The other competitors were external career coaches. So those were the career coaches that were focused on tangible, resume, LinkedIn branding, job interviews, right? The stuff, right? And I just noticed that with curiosity. Oh, okay. There's the inner work, career coaches, find your passion. There's the outer work, external, resume, LinkedIn. Now, thinking with a CEO mindset, right? I'm noticing there's kind of a gap in the market there, right? And the fact was that the reality was my clients needed both. They needed both. They needed someone to work through the inner stuff. They needed someone to help them identify their passion because they weren't happy where they were. But yeah, then they needed the resume and the LinkedIn and the tangible stuff, the job strategy. They needed both. And at the time, I was only offering the inner work. Now, I didn't want to do resumes, which is ironic for a career coach. But my analogy here is just like every corporate CEO, so we're thinking CEO mindset, every corporate CEO doesn't have every desire to do everything that the clients may need. So for example, in my corporate world, one of the companies I worked at as a corporate communications leader was Sephora headquarters, right? Now, if a client, right, if we did some market research and we found out that our clients wanted a new shade of lipstick, do you think that the CEO of Sephora sprinted down to the, lipstick section of the building and they got to work developing? No, the CEO didn't do that, but he didn't ignore that. He hired experts to do that, to deliver to the clients what they want, right? So again, in that example of being a career coach, I wanted to get my clients what they wanted. I also wanted to be able to deliver, a highly valuable package that was worth the high ticket price. I put my CEO hat on and I thought, how do I get them what they want, but I still stay in my own zone of genius? So what I did was I hired a resume writer. I hired a LinkedIn branding specialist, right? I brought them in as contractors. So be the CEO. Give your customers what they need, what they want, but you don't have to do it, right? Just back the offering into part of your package and pay an expert. Bring in contractors as needed. You don't have to hire them full-time, a full-time resume writer, right? It was a contractor. She would charge me per resume. So I built that in as a part of the package. My clients were so happy. They were more than happy to pay a higher ticket because I was giving them everything they needed. And I wasn't doing it all. I had the CEO hat on. I stayed in my zone of genius and I brought on experts. As a business coach, right, I currently have hired a team to support my clients, right? I'm here to support my clients with business strategy and marketing and sales and all that juicy stuff. But I also have a team of experts, right? I've got a team of accountability coaches who are IPEC certified, who are superstar graduates of my program, right? And they're there to hold my client's hand and make sure that they're accountable to implementing what I teach, right? So that's the experts I brought in as accountability coaches. I have a money mindset coach, right? Money mindset, who helps my clients get their mindset into the right place when selling a high ticket coaching package, right? And I continue to build my team to support my clients. This is on the horizon here. Part of my 1-year plan is I'm going to be, hiring a copywriter to come in and support my clients. I'm hiring a tech person to support the tech setup of my clients' businesses, right? So I am always thinking as a CEO, what do these guys need? And if it's not in my zone of genius, who are the experts I can bring in, right? So as the CEO, all of you guys, I want you always to be looking for ways to add more value and experts as needed to your packages. There is zero reason for me to get out of my zone of genius, which is marketing, sales, social media, right? So think like a CEO, all of you guys, and hire a team. So drop in the comments right now, what do you need to delegate? You don't have to give me the whole list, but even give me one thing that you commit to delegating or working on, right? Within the next month, I'm going to find a way to delegate this. Drop it into the comments here, okay? I do want to talk about, before we close out, the automate and the eliminate. So I won't spend as much time there. I think Delegate is probably the biggest of Delegate, Automate, Eliminate, but Automate as well. We'll leave that there. So the CEO is always looking for ways to delegate, automate, or eliminate, okay? The CEO is always thinking about what systems can I automate? So an example, if you're on LinkedIn, right, and you're doing LinkedIn outreach, which you should be, there's a company called Cleverly, and they will, automate your systems for you when it comes to LinkedIn outreach. That's an example. Your CRM, your customer relationship management system. So I'm using something called Dubsado, and there's a lot of options out there for CRMs. I'm using Dubsado. Dubsado allows me to send my clients contracts, the introductory questionnaire, forms, emails, and back to the automate, Dubsado allows you to set up automatic work streams. So Dubsado allows you to set up an automatic work stream where one action triggers something else in the system, and that triggers an email, and that triggers, right? And you can actually work with a Dubsado expert who will help you automate your process in Dubsado. That's an example of automating. MailChimp, that's who I use for my emails, right? If somebody is on my email list, they're getting emails from MailChimp. That's an example of automating, right? If somebody joins my Facebook group and you have the option to include your email address if you want free resources that I email and trainings. If you gave your email address, you were part of an automated 5-part email series, right? I have 5 nurture emails that are automated, that if you give your email, you get all these goodies sent to you via automated email. So that's an example of automating a 5 email nurture sequence. You're not emailing each person individually, right? Typeform, for those of you who have ever heard of Typeform. Typeform is something that I think I'll be moving to, actually. And this is where if somebody applies for a discovery call, which currently I'm using Dubsado for this, but if somebody wants to book a call with me, they have to apply, right? Because I'm looking for a certain type of person for my program. That's highly important to me. I find the right humans for this program that are a good fit. So you have to apply, right, for a discovery call. Typeform is something that will help you automate that process. So somebody fills out the application, and Typeform, based on their answers, will either shoot them over to schedule a call to your scheduler automatically, or Typeform will give them, an automated response, right? Telling them whatever, right? It's not a good fit at this time, but here's some free resources. So I'm not using that currently, but I just wanted to share that that's an example of a way you can automate. So again, CEO mindset, what can I do in my business to automate? What can I do to delegate? What do I have to eliminate? So I want you guys to think about that, right? And drop in the comments, what is one thing that you could potentially automate in your business? Hey, Ryan, copywriting. Love it, Ryan. Cool. All right. So let's talk about eliminate. What can you eliminate in your business? Okay. Hopefully you can read my writing there. So what do we eliminate, right? Because it feels like everything's important and you don't know what you don't know. This is part of why you work with a business coach or a business consultant, right? Is that we've been there, done that. So we can get into your business and tell you, nah, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. You're wasting your time there, right? So business coach is going to help you figure out what to delegate, automate, eliminate. But essentially when it comes to what to eliminate, again, you're monitoring what you do each day, each week, each month. At the end of each month, you guys should be looking back at your business and asking yourself, where am I spending the majority of my time? And what's the ROI, right? Am I getting an ROI? You should be asking every person that fills out an application and every new client, how did you hear about me? How did you find me? What did that journey look like? You should be gathering all that data from people, right? because you want to look back and the stuff that's working, you replicate, you do more of, and the stuff that you're not getting any traction on, you're going to drop, right? So I want you guys to be thinking about, where am I spending my time that's not getting any ROI, right? And those are some of the things you might want to consider eliminating. Now, the caveat is, the tough thing about if you're not working with a mentor, sometimes you think it's something you can eliminate, but really if you just did one small tweak, right? It's like, for example, sometimes I see people posting on social media, which is awesome. It's like, yes, they're getting out there, getting visible, but it's the copy, or they don't have a call to action, or it's not compelling content, right? And by working with me, I'm helping them tweak. Hey, it's cool you're doing that, but let's tweak, right? So if you don't have a mentor, sometimes just be careful of this. It sometimes may seem like, oh, I'm not getting an ROI, I'm going to drop it, I'm going to eliminate bucket. But sometimes it's a tweak. So please just make sure you do your due diligence and cross-check with a mentor or an expert. Do I need to tweak, or do I need to drop, right? But at the end of the day, if you're not getting an ROI, it's one or the other. Tweak it or drop it, right? Definition of insanity: doing the same thing and expecting different results, right? So, and an example I was going to share with you guys, when I was career coaching, when I first started, and I'm not saying this is everyone's experience, this was mine. I remember I was going to networking events for job seekers because I'm a career coach. So of course, where do I find my people? They're at networking events for job seekers. And at the time I was living in the Bay Area, San Francisco, and I had lived right over the bridge. So for every networking event, I had to drive over the bridge. And it's kind of a production, right? You had to drive all the way into the city, find a place to park. I was doing that 3 times a week, and I did it for a month. And I never got a sale that way. Never got a sale. I'm not saying you can never get a sale networking. But for me, going to these job seeker networking events, my clients weren't there. I thought they were, and they weren't, right? So I tested it. I looked at my month. I said, how many clients did I get from that? 0. So I dropped that, and I focused my efforts on virtual content marketing, and then I blew up my business, right? That's how I started getting to that 6-figure mark. So bottom line, end of every month, measure how many discovery calls or clients came in from your activities. And you either are going to need to tweak, or you're going to need to drop, eliminate. So I hope this was helpful, you guys. I just want you guys to take away from this: you are the CEO of your company. You're not a solopreneur, right? I want you to think bigger. I want you to set your vision. I want you to create 1, 3, and 10-year goals. I then want you to work backwards and build a strategy to get to those 1, 3, 10-year goals. I also want you to do this exercise, which I think is kind of fun. And this is kind of like a separate whiteboarding activity for you guys. Map out what kind of a person, what kind of a human do you need to be? Who do you need to become to be able to achieve that CEO vision, those CEO goals, right? How do you need to show up as a CEO? Map that out. How do you need to dress? How do you need to feel? How does a CEO feel? Who are the humans that need to surround you as the CEO of your business, right? What do they say? I'm going to botch this saying, but it's like, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Right? Surround yourself with people that are elevated, right? That's what a CEO does, right? Who are the mentors that you need as the CEO of your business to get you to your big goals? What are the thoughts that you want to be thinking on a day-to-day basis as the CEO? When you come up against a challenge or an obstacle, where does the CEO go in their mind? Map that out. Right? What are the actions you're going to take each day as a CEO? Build a CEO schedule. What do you need to do on the day-to-day as a CEO? What are the habits that a CEO has? Right? What do they need to do to keep themselves healthy, spiritually, mentally, emotionally? Create a pie chart of every area of your life and map it out from the perspective of showing up as a CEO. Okay? So I hope this was helpful. I want to leave you guys with the only limits are the ones that you put there, right? There are no limits. And that's the CEO mindset, right? Is that sky's the limit. And where there's a will, there's a way. And I don't need to go it alone, right? I can build a team. I can bring in experts. I can get creative. Okay, so if anybody has any additional questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and I will circle back. But I would love for you guys to, even after you go back and process some of this and do some of this activity, come back and drop in the comments your CEO commitment. What are some of the CEO commitments that you commit to doing even this month, right, to get you to your 1-year goal? All right, guys, wonderful spending time with you as always, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye, guys.